Peace.
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 Okay, thank you. That was all participation. Before we celebrate Emerald's matriarchs, I want to ground this. There were women before the women we invited today. Grandmothers who showed us strength, aunties who kept things steady, teachers who did more than their jobs required, mentors who shaped us, women who spoke up, women who carried us, women who remembered, women we never got to thank. If there's a woman who shaped you, can we just please take a moment to think of them, thank them in silence. This is Women's History Month, and we are celebrating Black Excellence. Follow that person? All right. Today we are gathered in the presence of living leadership. Women whose impact is real, women who are still building. Can you tell my team wrote this for me? Emerald matriarchs are created to say something simple. When Black women lead, outcomes shift, and we have the receipts. In our homes, in our communities, in our classrooms, in our courtrooms, in institutions that were not built with us in mind. Today we say that out loud. Today we honor the leadership while it is still living. The women here have made choices that cost something. They have protected people, they have protected vision, they have stayed. And that matters. Before we move this into conversation, I want to begin with gratitude. Spaces like Umoja don't grow in isolation. My mentor often says that. They grow because someone believed in them. They grow because someone stands beside you while you build. For me, that person is Dr. Kimberly McCrae. She is our moderator today. She is a respected leader on this campus. She is also my mentor. There were moments in this position that felt heavy, when the questions were big and the responsibility felt real. In those moments, she didn't encourage me, she clarified the strategy. She challenged me to think deeper. She pushed me to lead stronger. She reminded me that equity work requires both heart and strategy. She models leadership that is calm, intentional, and rooted in integrity. The kind of leadership that creates space for others. I'm a better leader because of her mentorship. So before we honor the Emerald matriarchs on this day, I want to honor the woman who has helped cultivate the ground for this work, Dr. Kimberly McCrae. Thank you for believing in Umoja. Thank you for believing in me, because leaders that pour into other leaders, communities change. Can we all rise in thanking?
We got lots of ball.
We
got lots going on. I thought they said they had back here for y'all. Where is the mic so the people online? Did y'all say there's one back here? On the table. Oh. Sorry. Yes, they texted us and letting us know.
If they can't hear us, it's not working.
Okay.
It's not working.
Okay.
Well, anyways, our apologies. Yes.
Because they're struggling with the mics and listening and hearing and all that, can you guys come forward and fill the seats in the front, please? We're a community. We're in this together. We can be close. We don't bite.
Okay, here. We were honoring you. I apologize. This is we always want. A whole bunch of goodies. That's all good. And we have you some flowers that should be making their way up here one day.
You should got our own microphones in our hearts.
We appreciate you. We love you.
They are.
And thank you.
Yeah.
And your children are here.
I know. I see all my children here. And I'm like, what are y'all doing here? It's not about me today. It's about the matriarchs. And I guess I'm going to yell since we don't have a mic. Okay. So Umoja presents Emerald Matriarchs, celebrating Black women's power in Seattle. Greetings, beloved community. It is an honor to welcome you to the Umoja Emerald City Matriarchs, a celebration of Black women whose influence has shaped the educational, cultural, and communal landscape of Seattle and Seattle Central College. Before we begin, I want to ground us in the definition of a matriarch. A matriarch is a woman who leads through wisdom, who guidance, who nurtures, anchors a community through her presence, protection, and vision. She is not simply the head of a family, she is the stabilizing force. The memory keeper, the strategist, the teacher, and the one who ensures that everyone has what they need to prosper. Seattle's matriarchs are our educators, our youth advocates, our community builders, institutional shapers, and they have embodied the definition for our voice generations. As Anna Julia Cooper taught us, when and where I enter, the whole race enters with me. Our matriarchs entered classrooms, colleges, community spaces, with the truth on their shoulders, knowing their presence opened pathways for thousands. My own lived experience was informed by some of these matriarchs standing in this room. As a Black woman, a mother, educator, and now Dean of Student Success, affirms something I see deeply. Black women are the designers of education and possibility. We build systems of belonging. We challenge structures that perpetuate inequity. We create learning environments where our students, especially our Black students, can locate their brilliance and their future. Today, right now, is for the matriarchs who shape the city's intellectual life, for the teachers who turned classrooms into sanctuaries, the mentors who redirected the trajectories of young people, the college leaders who insisted equity must be operational, and the women who taught us that education is not neutral, it is a tool for liberation. And as Bell Hooks reminds us all, education is the practice of freedom. So, welcome. And as this engagement reminds us, this learning space in this city is stronger, more just, and more humane because of Black woman touch. Peace and rest. So with that, we're going to have the students come up and read the bios of all the matriarchs. So, all right.
Hey everybody, I'm Ari. I am a social and human services student, and I am also a program coordinator for Emoji. I would like to introduce to you my dean, Ms. Patricia Russell. She is the Executive Dean of Healthcare and Human Services at Seattle Central, where she leads programs that prepare students for careers dedicated to caring for and strengthening communities. A proud alumna of Seattle Central, her own educational journey reflects the transformative power of community colleges. Throughout her career, Ms. Russell has been Dr. Russell. I'm sorry. Dr. Russell has been committed to expanding access to higher education and building support systems that help students persist and succeed. Known for her thoughtful leadership and mentorship, she continues to shape programs that empower students and strengthen pathways into critical health and human service professions.
Great start off. Good evening, everyone. I am Lynn Harris. I am a new addition to the Umoja community. I'm so grateful to be here, and I'm going to introduce Dr. Yoshiko Harden. Lovely woman. Lovely woman. I like that. Dr. Yoshiko Harden is the president of Renton Technical College and is a nationally respected leader in community and technical college education. Over the course of her career, she has championed equity, workforce development, and student success across Washington's higher education system. Prior to becoming a president, Dr. Harden served to several leadership roles at Seattle Central College here, including interim president. During her time here, she was a pioneer of Umoja program at the Seattle Central College. Here, creating space for culturally grounded programs that strengthens belonging, leadership, and academic success for Black students, which is me. So thank you. Her leadership continues to shape how colleges build opportunities and meaningful pathways for communities they serve. Please welcome Dr. Yoshiko Harden.
Okay. I would like to introduce and welcome to the panel Ms. Andrea Jarmon. Judge Andrea Jarmon serves on the King County District Court and brings more than 15 years of legal experience to the bench. Prior to her election, she worked as a prosecutor, assistant attorney general for Washington State, and as an attorney representing individuals navigating the legal system. A Seattle native, Judge Jarmon attended Middle College High School, located on the campus of Seattle Central College, an experience that helped shape her path toward higher education and a career in law. Today, she is known for her commitment to fairness, access to justice, and ensuring the courts serve all the members of the community with dignity and respect. Ms. Andrea Jarmon.
Okay, last but certainly most definitely not least, I am going to introduce Joy Hollingsworth, who is a Seattle City Council member representing District 3 and 4th generation Seattleite raised in the historic Central District. Now let me just say, okay, I'm not from the city, but I graduated from Garfield, so she repping the city over here. And Doctor over here is also representing. She a bulldog. Bulldogs in the house.
That's right.
So back to Joy Hollingsworth. Before joining the city council, she built a career in entrepreneurship, food justice, and community leadership. She built a career in entrepreneurship, food justice, and community leadership, working to expand opportunity and investment in Seattle neighborhoods. Hollingsworth comes from a family deeply rooted in the city's civic life and has long been committed to strengthening community connections. Her leadership focuses on affordability, public safety, and ensuring that Seattle remains a city where longtime residents and future generations can thrive. Please welcome Joy Hollingsworth. And with all our guests introduced, can you please give one big round of applause for all of them?
So this is not working? All right, well, I'll be serving as the moderator. So welcome, and I'm so excited to meet you all. Some of you are old, dear friends of mine. I wouldn't be who I am if it hadn't been for Dr. Patricia Russell taking me to Elliott Bay Bookstore, allowing me to just touch and read her dissertation and gently talking me through why you can do this. And we just had tea and coffee, and it was so low pressure, but because of that time, those Saturdays that she gave me, I was able to push through. And then my doctoral diva friend over there, Dr. Harden, we went through our program together, and we shared resources, and we got together every weekend, wasting time and never doing work. But it was just being in community and sharing and just knowing that someone else had my back and working together, that we both were able to get through and pretty much defend at the same time. And so I know the power of Black women and how they can help us all get to the next level. So thank you all. Welcome for being here. And a middle college student that's a judge, that's what's up, girl. I'm just so excited about that. That's a celebration in and of itself. So as a moderator, I have 3 sections that were prepared by Emoja students. It's the first arc of our conversation will be around roots in your becoming, your roots in your becoming. The second arc is around power and protection, and the final arc is around challenges and grounding. So I'm gonna just throw out a question, and feel free, to answer it, any one of you, and then we can start this as a conversation and just see how things go. So the first question that I have here that I would like to just throw out there for you all is, what would your younger self be proud of today?
Start down there.
Okay, I like to think of myself. Should I just project my voice?
Yeah, here, does this work?
Is that for online or what is that for?
It is for online.
Okay, so we need to use that.
Yeah, here you go. Yeah, I'll walk
So
around.
sorry.
Yeah, come back.
And I'll pass it to you, Dr. Russell. Well, first off, it's such an honor to be here. I am not a judge or a doctor, so I kind of feel, this is like such black excellence up here. So I just want to say this, it's amazing just to be in your presence and on this panel, and thank Emoja for putting this on. I think my younger self, I like to think of myself as young. I'm 41, but I'm getting old. So I think about when I was like 13, 14, when I was coming into, when you're trying to explore yourself and you're trying to understand who you are. I think my younger self would say, Joy, I'm proud of you taking risks and jumping off that cliff and building the plane on the way down, and taking the first step. The first step is always oftentimes the hardest thing, and fear can really paralyze you at times. And I think my younger self at 13 would say, take the first step. So I think that's what my younger self would be proud of.
I think my younger self will be proud of not believing all those people that told me I could not do it.
Yes.
I'm very proud that when I remember very particularly a man telling me one time not to talk so much because I intimidated men when I would ask questions or talk about things that I was interested in. And I basically told him to shut up. So here I am. I am a doctor, and I think my younger self would be very proud that I told him to shut up, kept talking, and kept going.
We are.
I think we got it. Well, thank you. And it's so special to be here and see Emoja in action because I left before it actually started. So Dr. McCrae and others that have brought it to life, it really is beautiful. And I hope to bring it to RTC. So I think, I always tell students at orientation that I'm a college president today, but I'm also a college dropout. And that's a really important part of my story because when I graduated high school, I went to University of Washington and flunked out the first year and then took a year off. And then I remember my dad telling me, well, maybe you will just get pregnant and you can get a job at a bank. And I thought to myself, well, I'm 18, I don't think I've peaked yet, but he doesn't say that anymore. And then I went back another year to University of Washington and I flunked out again. And by then, like the second layer starting to be like, oh, we ain't so sure. So I just think, I always tell students, college is actually to me not about how smart you are. How many of you know someone who's really smart and they don't have a lot of letters after their name? Right? And how many know someone who has a lot of letters like me and they ain't that smart? So to me, it's really about persistence and accessing your support and just keep going. And so I think my younger self would say you reached a lot of your goals. I'm at that point in my life where I feel like I have more to do and time is moving more quickly. But in terms of career, family, money, I always wanted my own money. So, just to be able to do my own thing. And so I think that would, it's just important to remember that you can look like you have it all together, but there's a lot behind this, and we're all balancing and grappling with a lot of things. And so I think it's just important to remember that your grace for yourself and also for your younger self. So that's what I keep my younger self. But I feel like at 55, I might have 55 more years.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm holding on.
You calling out ladies, I ain't.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, first of all, I want to say it's an absolute honor to be here with each of you. And I always like being able to come out and be in these spaces. I feel restored when I look out and I see these beautiful Black and brown faces. I am very open about the fact that I was a homeless youth and a child of abuse. In fact, I was still homeless when I began middle college. And so I think that what I am most proud of is that I have found my voice through my journey. I'm continuing to develop that. And I say to myself all the time that the work is not done because I have found my voice. The work is only done as long as I continue to help others find theirs as well.
No, we have a lot of rows.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stop all of
Thank
that. So that's great. I mean, thinking about your younger selves and you know, what would you say to her or him or they that you're most proud of? But oftentimes we forget those unsung heroes that help to kind of frame us through our lived experiences. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, you know. But there were lessons that we learned along the way that got you all to where you are today. Who out to she?
We'll start down then. Where?
Judge, you go. Help to shape you.
Who have to shape me? Well, I can't name just one person.
You don't have to.
In the top category, though, it certainly would be Julie Zarelli. She was the assistant, or actually at the time, she was the counselor here at Middle College. When I met her, as I said, I was still homeless. I'd gone to about 12 different schools throughout being shuffled between places and shelters. And she pieced together my transcript and determined that I had a significantly high GPA. I don't know how that happened. Actually, I don't know how that happened. It's because I knew school was the one place I could get a meal, so I went to school. But anyway, Julie Zarelli, I call my mommy mentor. She is the one person that shapes me. I continue to be shaped by people like Justice Helen Wagner, who was the first Black woman to be appointed to our Washington State Supreme Court. People like Justice Montoya Lewis, the first Indigenous woman to be appointed to our Supreme Court in Washington State. I'm thinking today in particular about Joanna Bland. Joanna Bland passed away a few years ago. She was a very phenomenal person, one of those unsung heroes in the civil rights movement. She actually marched and did so many things to advance rights. But again, we hear about the prominent names, MLK, Malcolm X and so forth, but sometimes the women who stood on the same front lines are sometimes forgotten. But I am thinking today about her and her voice and her presence and how her message was so strong and clear. She was a child when she marched. So again, speaking about that voice, children, you have strong voices.
I think for me, of course, my mother and my grandmother, my dad's mother, who had a third grade education and had to leave school to work in the fields in Georgia. And I remember her, and then she was a maid then for the rest of her life. But I remember her telling me, first of all, opportunities aren't endless. So don't live your life as if there's going to be another opportunity. Exploit them. And that no one sits on their deathbed and wishes they didn't get all that education. And she had a third grade education and could not go back to school. So I think in terms of professionally, many women, but in terms of presidency, it would have to be Sheila Edwards Lang, former president of Seattle Central College, which is, I would have been her number 2 forever, her number 3. I just love her. She's chancellor of University of Washington, Tacoma, but I left Bellevue College to come work for her, and I knew I just wanted to work for her, and she probably, in terms of the role I'm in now, was, my mentor, and I just learned every moment so much from her.
Oh, definitely my mother. Yeah, my father. My mother was Dr. Lily Russell. My father was Dr. Anthony Russell. My mother, this is funny, when you're growing up and you have such a powerful person like my mother, who I kept trying to run away. Like, I'm not going to be that woman. and, and like somebody once told me, yeah, you ran so far, you did a 360 and you look just like her. And I'm very proud to be that person, right? And my mother always taught me, if you see a need, you have to fill it. That's your obligation. My father always told me as well that, you know, whatever boys can do, you can do. And this is way back when, right? So I had that very, very strong grounding. And I also always think about all those people that never met me, that loved me enough to live for me and loved me enough to die for me. That was ground into me. And, you know, I think about that every day, especially when I start whining, you know, about other things I had to get up and do. I am blessed enough to be able to get up and do them because those people loved me enough to make sure that they lay down that path for me. So, yeah, those folks. And all of you who are here, and all of you who are here. So, yeah. Thanks.
So growing up, my mother, born in New Orleans, Louisiana, at the Callio Projects, grew up, went to Xavier University, majored in English, and liked to tear up my papers every day, growing up, right? And had to tell me how to articulate and how to be an orator and all these different things. So definitely my mother, just because knowing what she went through in life growing up in the projects in New Orleans and that sacrifice she made. And then my aunt, who had a big job at Boeing and was an executive, and she sat me in her chair at 11 years old over in Bellevue when Boeing was still here and said, "Can you see yourself in this chair?" And I didn't know how powerful that was until I got older, because a little kid, I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I can be up in the chair. But didn't realize what that did for me visually, visualization.
Yeah.
And then, of course, my grandmother, Dorothy Hollingsworth, who was like the Velvet Hammer, right? And she was born in South Carolina in 1920. And to know her story, she told me the one thing that got her, she was motivated by a lot of things, but she always remembered she was walking downtown. She was in Greensboro, North Carolina, and this white woman came up to her and said, "You will never be anything but scrubbing floors for white folks," to her face. And she said it was that moment where she was like, oh, and her trajectory in her life. And now, for me, it's Deborah Juarez. And Deborah Juarez is now on the council. She was the first Indigenous woman who was served on the Seattle City Council. She was born on a reservation, Blackfeet Nation. And she's been a mentor to me to navigate politics and people and environments and how to really be yourself in this world, particularly in Seattle, where we call ourselves progressive. And y'all know what I mean. And as Black voices, brown voices, you can often be seen different if you have a different of opinion. And how she says you just have to be yourself. So, y'all.
This is bringing up a lot for me as I think about just all the things we, as Black women, go through, and how effortless it appears to the rest of you all, right? The things that we endure to create opportunities for other people, including our family. And my next question deals with that, right? Because a lot of people have a lot of thoughts about Black women and how we show up, how we don't show up, and how we ought to show up. My question for you all is, what misconceptions must disappear today? And I got a lot of thoughts on that, but I'm just the moderator. Who would like to answer that question first?
I'll start.
Okay. No, Yoshiko, Dr. Harden has this thing. You give her a mic.
Presidents, we love to talk. I can be here all day. You should take the microphone. No. So because I think about this, because my dissertation was on racial microaggressions. And when I think about like the stereotypes about Black women, they're like all overwhelmingly negative. Angry, combative, loud, deceitful, aggressive, unapproachable, and so on. These are things that have been said to me. You should smile more. Why do you seem so angry?
I'm like, well, we're just at work talking about work stuff. Like, then I'll be like, everybody should be angry about injustice. Like, I don't know, I'm not angry, but so I think about that a lot. And early in my career, it used to cause me a lot of stress. And it was through talking to like men of color, because I always went home feeling bad. And I'd be like, I felt bad, like I interrupted that person, or we didn't get to something. And then I started talking to my colleagues, and I'm like, do you ever feel bad, like in a meeting? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, no. Do you ever feel bad, like if you cut somebody off? And they're like, no. So I realized for me, there was definitely a gendered socialization component about like making things comfortable for folks and saying things, using humor and then smiling and, I'm going to have a difficult conversation, a lot of like pre-stuff. And so for me, I just decided to like stop managing perceptions. And because it just didn't work. And I got a lot more successful at my career and how I felt when I stopped trying to manage people's perceptions of me, and just like my own inner mantra is like, stand in your own integrity, admit your own mistakes, and don't be a jerk. That's like, those are like my 3 pillars. And so but they do, these stereotypes and misnomers and misconceptions, they are very real. And one of the things, they're very generalized, and then they get targeted on you specifically. So there are real consequences to them in terms of health outcomes, career outcomes, employment outcomes. We're not making them up, and in my field, even at my job, people, it's very hard. It takes up a lot of energy to like work around them. So I think dismantling them, interrupting them is really important.
Can I say something before we?
Yeah.
As moderator, I'm gonna jump in again. That was a very triggering question, because thinking about what you just said and managing perceptions, which is not always the easy thing to do, because when these things land on you, it's an attack, it's an assault, it's violence. And in my current role, it was shared with me that an employee at this college, a white woman, who's an executive, said she was afraid of me. And when they were challenged on, well, why are you afraid of Dr. LaFleur? What's she been done to you? The person said, it's the amount of power she had. But the thing about it is it hurt me. Because this is not a person I've ever had an engagement with on that level, outside of sitting in a meeting and having conversations and speaking in my truth.
Right.
But to have that narrative, is working towards, just negating other people's perceptions, what the hell, and I did confront them about it, but it's just what it does to your body as a Black woman that people don't fully understand.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so normalized.
And it's so normalized.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but
No.
yeah, I just had to share that.
I'll be quick because I don't know how to answer this in the sense like what needs to be because the question was what
misconceptions must disappear.
But I'll just tell you from my experience, I'm in a role as now like the council president, and so that everyday stress of I gotta smile, I have to make sure that I'm happy, that people see that positive energy. People can pick up on that shift, and I feel like now, especially for Black women, the stereotypes have always been a certain way, but I even feel them even more because we don't have those TV shows like Claire Huxtable anymore, or the Vivian Banks with the Fresh Prince, or those are the Black women I grew up on. The Claire Huxtables and the Vivian Banks. And now they're seeing different shows. No knock on them, okay? We all know the reality shows, right? Housewives, Basketball Wives. But, it's really interesting because oftentimes when I challenge, and when I say challenge, I might hold people accountable, they feel threatened by that. And it's like, no, this isn't a threat. This is just, hey, I'm just asking questions, and they feel very threatened by that. And so I've always tried to think about how am I going to positively come at them, or am I going to do the sandwich, positive reinforcement, what the issue is, and then reinforce them. all the time, right? And that is like mental gymnastics constantly every day. And so I don't know what needs to, I wish I didn't have to do that, but that's just the experience that I have right now of trying to be in the position that I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to answer it either. I really don't. Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, I was in an all-division meeting, and I had one of my staff that is notorious for not stopping talking.
I don't know that.
And I finally lost it and said, so-and-so, stop talking, so we could continue on with this meeting. And I mean, everybody in the room turned and stared at me. Now,
Even though they wanted you to say it.
and they all wanted me to say it.
Because they all said, why don't this
Everybody in
person
that
stop talking?
room wanted somebody to say so-and-so stop talking so we can all go home now, right? And I did it. I just finally said, so-and-so stop talking, right? And I was so stressed out after that. I mean, I got sick, like physically ill, thinking, oh my God, now what have I done?
Right.
You know, because I know the backlash that is going to come from this, right? And so, you know, I don't know what to say other than I know I was right
Yeah, you were.
to say that. So, I mean, if I could stop something, I wish I could just be able to talk like a person in a meeting. I wish I could be able to just be me, and be able to execute, you know, things that need to be executed in my role, without having to think about the sandwich, you know, or should I be smiling now when I do this? How am I going to meet with this person and talk about this? You know, what if I have to do a PIP with somebody? I mean, all of these things I have to seriously think about just to do day-to-day kind of stuff. So, yeah.
You know, I would just say that I think the challenge and really the impediment is that Black women are not given the benefit of the full spectrum of humanity and dignity, such that we're able to express the different emotions that any human being has, such that when we are speaking firmly, we're being interpreted as being aggressive. Whereas if well, oh, that person is they're very bold and stated.
Passionate.
They're very passionate. People passionate and passionate, right? That's the word they throw out there, so they want to disregard the substance of what we're saying, right? And then focus on the animation that we see. And so I think that is the challenge that I have, and it really is significant. I don't know if you all are familiar with Judge Tracy Flood. She was the first Black judge to run in, I think it was, I want to say Bremerton, Kitsap County. And recently, the Supreme Court, our state Supreme Court just came back with its decision in response to the Commission on Judicial Conduct's ruling to suspend her. And when you look at the transcript, when you look at the nature of the primary nature of the complaints launched against her, it all has to do with what I call Black female tone policing. So if we say something, and it has to do with our situational power, right? And so what I find, let me speak boldly and truthfully here, that's what we're here to do, right?
That's how we want it.
People have a problem with Black women in leadership. So much so, it's epitomized in this statement here. Many of the court clerks have said, oh, we love her when she's off the bench, right? But when I'm on the bench, when you are faced with the fact that there's a situational power differential there, then it becomes a problem. And what is so impactful and challenging is that I think our Supreme Court had an opportunity to really engage that issue, and I think they failed. Because what they could have done is, if you recognize the racism, if you recognize that there is some, you know, that dynamic, and it was recognized, even reference fighting crime. I mean, and I'm just going to be very candid and bold here. The power of white women's tears in the context of Black women, and then what that means in terms of what they imagine to have transpired.
Right.
Ma'am, I simply said your time is over. your argument is ended. Why are you crying? And so anyway, but again, I think it's because we continuously deny just the spectrum of human emotion.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there is a lot around contested authority and just not wanting to take leadership from a black person or a black woman. And that's probably my biggest hurdle at my job. I tell people all the time, it's actually not the duties of the job. That I can do the duties. It's dealing with all of the other stuff and all of the stereotypes and the generalizations. But I was a friend of mine who's a city attorney for a city in Washington, black woman, and she was telling me that her mom was dying. And so she told her team, I'm gonna be like you do, I'll be out of the office, caring for my mother. So they filed a complaint against her for oversharing. What? So then when she said, okay, she just was not gonna say anything at meetings and just went to business, they filed a complaint against her for not fostering engagement. So to your point, like you just can't. So you just shouldn't even try. I mean, there isn't, and they contradict each other. So on my campus, the stereotype is I'm never at work. So I'm not doing my job. If you know a president's job, you're actually supposed to be off campus. But I'm never at work, and when I'm at work, I'm openly hostile. But when you ask for like an example, there's no, they can't point to any example. It's just like, well, she sends a lot of emails. Like, well, what does that have to do with hostility? But the challenge is it's just so normalized that even within my own team, it's like, I have to like, yo, this is not okay. You know, and what I say to my team, like, these are not good people.
That part. Right.
And they won't stop. So stop treating things as episodic, isolated incidents. They are not going to stop. I'm under investigation by the state ethics office right now. For 20 months, I've been under investigation. For ruining the college, running it into financial mismanagement, they said I'm not engaged in nepotism because I'm not related to these people, but extreme favoritism for black people.
What's your demographics though?
Hiring only black people, hiring my friends, only getting contracts for my friends. They even said I sent staff to Encore in Hawaii so they could have a state-sponsored vacation. So I have to spend hours and hours responding to these complaints, and I don't choose where Encore is, and Hawaii is also a state. And there was no problem the year before when people went to New York.
Right.
And if you know anything about Hawaii, it's actually the most appropriate place to have that conference in terms of colonial power and indigenous rights and language and culture.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Can I just add one additional thing?
Surely.
I just want to say really quickly that because the mental acrobatic exercise that you have to do while you're trying to process a racialized trauma experience is quite, debilitating on occasion. But I think this is where, that term of allyship and accomplice, right? Because there's a difference, right? I think though that's where that really does become important. So maybe you don't respond, but maybe that's where you really do lean into the other individuals, who are not people of color, to ask them, I wonder, do you perceive this the way I do? Would you be able to intervene and provide some guidance to this person? And that's the true test of whether that person is an ally or whether you can put them into the accomplice box.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you all. And we only have a few more minutes, and I'm going to collapse this into one question. And it's about grounded. And I want to know, how have you stayed grounded? What does rest look like for you all? And what has carried you? For example, 20 months. The emotional acrobatics. The having to go home after you corrected a bad behavior and just what it did to your body after that, right? The sitting there and having to absorb people's tears that have caused you so much harm, and you, because of your position, you just have to take it. How have you rested? How have you survived this? And how have you stayed grounded in the work that you do? And that'll be our last question.
I'll go quickly.
Go ahead, Judge.
I watch a lot of television now.
I'll hear you.
No. You go. Yeah.
But you know, I'll just say these things. One, we come from people who have endured so much. So we should be ashamed if we suggest that we are exhausted at this point. That's what I tell myself. Yeah. The second thing is, we have to build capacity, even greater capacity, to continue the work, because if we don't, then who will? And we have children, we have youth, we have so many other people that are counting on being able to stand on our shoulders in the same way that we are standing on the wonderful, tremendous, courageous shoulders of our ancestors. Our work is not done. So what keeps me grounded is the understanding that if right now in this moment, for example, I am still the only Black Muslim who's ever been appointed or elected to a bench in Washington State, my work is not done. And I keep those images of myself homeless. They're in my office wall because I have to continuously reference that as a point for me of grounding. And I tell people, I'm very open about saying to the people who come before me, criminal matters, protection order matters, I have been there. You know, so we have to keep doing the work so we can continue to tell those stories, because again, the work continues and we have endured more.
Absolutely. I think about that too. Like, our ancestors did way more, some with less, with like no opportunity, like no access,
Right.
no employment, no housing, no health care. So I do think about that, and that's what I tell my kids. I've been saying this little mantra, like, I observe, I don't absorb. That's what I say when I go to work. Like, I'm here to observe, but I don't absorb, because it's a lot of it actually has nothing to do with me. It's just all these projections onto me. And when you're in a CEO role, I mean, people just like to talk about their boss. They like to talk ish about their boss. And if you're a person that likes, I want people to like me. And so you just have to make sense of the level of criticism, and you're doing a good job. So I was naive. I thought I would do a good job, and then don't laugh, Dr. Pat. And then things would go from there. But
Go well.
so I'm the first woman, first person of color, and I think that is okay, but it also points to the historical exclusion and how powerful that is. Because I'm sure in the last 80 years at RTC, there was a woman or a person of color that could have done this job. It's not a remarkable job. You can do the job. And so I think about that, and I also, that's what grounds me. And so I just try not to, but I had to really wrap my head around, I'm doing things at the college like they've never done, like money up, enrollment up, things look better, equity plan, things in place. And the level of criticism, in the literature they call it, the rate, Black women at the rates they achieve, they're going to experience the same rate of critique. What?
Dr. I was laughing. The better you do, the more they're going to come after. Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry. I was laughing. I just got an email today. Your numbers are down in these programs. And I got so upset because we took a little tiny flyer out into a community and got 68 students to apply. 68 students. We had to cut it off in 1 week. Now, if I see one more damn video from this college that's going to recruit somebody, I'm going to ask the same question. What's the ROI? Because I have not seen one student enroll because of these videos. Okay, so please don't come and ask me about my enrollment being down, right? Because I don't know. We did a flyer and it seems to be doing better. Don't ask me about my numbers. when we're up and everybody else is telling me our budgets are looking funny, please don't ask me, because I can't stand these attacks in there like this. And I do look back to look forward, because I have to think about my ancestors and what they went through. I don't know that I would have survived that. I really don't have any kind of clue. But I know that they did live and that they didn't die for me. So I know that I got to take what I've got and I've got to make what I need. And I have not probably watched so much Netflix in my whole history. And I'm probably going to watch a whole lot more.
After that email, you gotta watch some tonight.
Okay.
Yes, I'm around.
Yeah.
Hey, promise.
And I think too, when I do look at some of the numbers that we brought in, we have a program called the Academy for Rising Educators. And in the 6 years we've been here, we have placed over 100 teachers. If someone asks me about my numbers, ask me about that. So,
I'm gonna ask you about your numbers, about that. Okay, so really quick, rest for me looks like my mom used to take me around when I was a little kid. She would drive to the ends of the earth, to hell and back, for basketball tournaments. So we would always go randomly around the country, and she'd always take us to like black things. So we go to Omaha, Nebraska, and we're driving through, and she's like, we're gonna go to Malcolm X's house. And we were driving around, and we found the lot that was the house that used to stand there. But she used to take me to these things. And so fast forward, here we are. What gives me rest is traveling to different places around the country and finding different historical black things. So one of the things, if anyone ever has opportunity, St. Catharines in Ontario, I would say California, Canada, which is an hour and a half outside of Toronto, is Harriet Tubman's church. After she has gained freedom, this was her church. It was a VME church, which meant British Methodist Episcopal Church, because at the time the British folks had abolished slavery and America hadn't, so they weren't taking on that name. And 13 was the number of times that she used that church to go back into the South to pull people out and to walk that church, to be in that church, to sit in the pew, to be in that presence. I was like, okay, what I'm going through is nothing compared to thinking about people with no shoes, with no clothes on their back, being scared in the middle of the night, looking up at the drinking board, the North Star, and the thing of, she told her people, if you hear dogs, keep going. If you hear them, keep going. So that is always in the back of my mind, keep going. That's what rest looks to me like.
Well, Judge Jarmon, Judge Jarmon, Dr. Harden, Dr. Pat, Councilwoman Hollingsworth. I say thank you, I say ashe, and I say Avery.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.